quickly for everyone because yes, because of the timing, I didn't want to keep us here too long. So Python is a programming language, as you all know, or as I assume you are aware of. That's why you joined the class, and it's what we refer to as a high-level programming language, in the sense that it's not as difficult as what the computer understands, and it's in between. It's a language that it's as easy as we can use, and it's easy for the computer to interpret, because computer doesn't speak English the way we speak. Computer understands information in zeros and ones, binary. So we have a language that is similar. It's not complicated. It's easier to our human nature, and it's very easily interpretable for the computer machine. So that's why we refer to it as a high level programming language. Then also, we refer to it as a very versatile language because you will find out that Python is everywhere. In various areas, you will find the use of Python present. Okay, and it was created in 1991 by a man, a Dutchman called Guido van Rossum. Let me see if I can pop up his picture. He was the one that invented the language as a hobby project. So he had spare time one Christmas and he decided to create a programming language for people to use, and that's what we're using today. I would um, bring it up to screen so we can see what he looks like, and let me give a history. Okay, so I'll share my screen now. And so share. All right. So this is the man that invented the language. His name is Guido van Rossum. He invented the language we're using today, and he intended it to be a hobby project, a language that is easy to use. And I think he built it on the back of other programming language, in particular ABC and C. So let me explain what I just said. We use Python as a programming language. He created his own programming language based on other programming languages that existed at that time. So he built it and it has been in use since 1991. Now, whenever you hear the word Python, everybody is like, oh my God, it may be a big snake or something like that. No, actually, and interestingly, he named the language after a show. He liked a comedy show so much that it inspired him to name his language after the show he liked, which was the Monty Python's Flying Circus. So it has been around for, I think, 20 plus years now, and it has been good. Now, at this point of learning, I think I must mention that there has been a new language released. I think it was in March, Mojo. And people speculate that the creators of Mojo are hoping that Mojo will replace Python in the programming world, that it will outdo Python and then everyone will be using Mojo instead of Python. But I don't believe that as true because the system that Python supports are so many, and you can't just replace decades of work in a year because it's a new language. I don't believe that. But I guess with time, over time, their hopes may come true. I don't know. But for now, I doubt that that will be possible. So let's just move on. I need to confirm you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Okay, good. Sorry, I wanted to be sure. All right. So the goal of the language when he created it was there were four things. He said he wanted the language to be very easy to use, which you would find out very soon. Open source. What we mean by a language is open source. It means that you, as the user of Python language, can contribute to Python. Okay, so you may get to the point where you're like, okay, I don't like the way something works in this language. You go online, you go to where the language is being hosted, and then you make a contribution
Where
to
the
the
language is being
language.
posted and then you make a contribution to the language.
All right. So sorry. Yeah. So anyone can contribute to Python. Anyone can decide to change anything. It's open source. You can use it. Now, as I said before, it's a high level programming language. That means it's very easy to understand and it is very suitable for everyday tasks. As you develop in the language and you probably decide to take on um, advanced tasks, what you can do with Python is automation, right? So with automation, you would be able to probably automate sending emails to your friends every Monday, or you can automate WhatsApp messages to people. You can do like really cool stuff, create your chat bot for Twitter, anything at all. Python makes it easy for you to get started with complex tasks like that. Okay, so let me move on to the next page. So I believe I have notifications. Sorry, hold on. So now what makes Python special? It's easy to learn, it's easy to teach, it's easy to use, it's easy to understand, and it's easy to obtain. Like yesterday now, I believe almost everyone here was able to at least everyone that was here yesterday was able to install Python. And now there's one thing, as I said yesterday, you don't have to be held back by the limitation of, oh, I don't have a laptop, so I can't write code. No, you can do it right with your phone. You can download VS Code on your phone. You can use VS Code on your phone. I didn't want to complicate things yesterday, but the truth is, you can use VS Code on your browser on your phone. So you don't have any limitation of, oh, I don't have a laptop, I can't start writing code. You have all these materials available. So I think I showed the people that don't have a laptop how to use Replit, but I would create an article explaining how you can use VS Code on your phone just for those that don't have a laptop. So let's move on. So we have many languages that are competing with Python. We have Perl, Ruby, and so many other things. By now, all these languages have been in existence for a long time. So I don't think Python has any problem whatsoever. Um, does this boy not have regard? Sorry. Sorry. Um, I wanted to confirm if I have any question here. Please, is there any question? Praise, I'm teaching now. Stop making noise. Is there any question? I'm having bad network. Is there any question before I move on? Are we good? If you're following the class to this point, please leave an emoji or a thumbs up. Let me know that everyone. All right, thank you. So I'm seeing that you come here and fat and go. All right, so let's move on to what we have today. So I believe I've done a recap, but I'm going to do a final 5 minutes recap for installing Python. So yesterday I talked about going to python.org to download it. I'm going to put it up again. Um, Ebuka, please close the door. Open the door. All right. So if you go to downloads and you click downloads, it's usually not best to just click download Python 3.1. It's usually not best, but you go here to Windows, Linux, we click whatever you want. It will take you to another tab. You click the latest release and you go down and you either click 32 bytes, 64. I usually refer to this as the recommended, as they've said. Now, for those using Linux, I just realized yesterday and this morning that it's best to use another IDE, which is not the Python. Okay, let's finish downloading. The recommended would be to use PyCharm. So we have another IDE. This is specifically for those using Linux operating system. Okay, I don't know what the problem is here, but you go to, okay, I think I'll take my time to look for the link. But you go to PyCharm, while others can use VS Code or IDO, Python IDO, you can use PyCharm. Let me leave it in the chat for those that want to get it. PyCharm. That's the ID you'll be using. Okay, so I think I've done a recap on that. If you missed it, please watch the video yesterday and feel free to ask me any question on WhatsApp. I'll help you to guide you. So I don't know if this is clear, but let's go on. So today we are looking at variables, data types, and we are going to look into Python in depthly. So first of all, as I said, we use Python for so many things. We use it for web development, data science and machine learning, scientific computing, automation, game development, cybersecurity, desktop application, and of course, education. As we are using it now, we use Python to learn. So we looked at how to install Python, and I will send this text to the group chat. Just I'll create a note for everyone, so you see all of this there. It's written there. So let's go to the editor. Let's write code. Please, if you've downloaded or installed all your systems, you can open your editors and follow me as I'm teaching. So for the sake of this class, I want to use VS Code. I want to use VS Code, but I feel like I should use IDO. Okay, I'm going to use IDO since I asked most everyone to use IDO yesterday. So Python 3, IDO. Yes, let me use IDO for the sake of those that don't have VS Code, so I don't confuse anyone. Is there any question? Let me check. All right, no question. Okay, so let's start. So today we're looking at variables, we're looking at data types, and we're looking at operators. Um, Let me leave it in the chat so no one is lost. Please focus. Variables, um, data types, and operators. So these are the three things we'll be looking at for today's class. I don't know. This is a remote class, but I want it to be as practical as possible. I need to know how many people have their IDEs open before I continue. So I know the I know what we're doing. Okay, so Benjamin's ID is open. Uh, okay, Peter, Glory, Kennedy.
Glory, Kennedy.
Okay, all right. Teresia, is your ID open? Do you, okay. Um, Phoebe, is that the name? Yes. Phoebe, do you have your ID open? So Ibrahim, I'm seeing thumbs up. Okay. I have some other people. So I need to be interactive because it's programming. It's not a gisting class. So please, let me see if I can get more people's attention. Abiud, is your ID open? Do you have access to your code editor? Um, okay. Sandra, is your ID open? Yes, you can open your replit. You can open your replit. Okay, so let's go. We're going to be talking not yet, joining for the first. Oh, okay. Well, the class is recorded. You have from now to next week Friday to catch up, but if you can take notes somewhere because I need us to have feedback and then I can help out.
Have feedback and then I can help out.
Okay. Do you have a question,
Okay.
madam?
Do you have a question, madam?
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, ask your question. If you're saying something, I can't hear you.
If you're saying something, I can't hear you.
Okay, please type your question in the chat. I will try to answer it before I move on. Um, please type your question. I want to see. K Brown, is your editor open? Who else have I not called? Samuel Antwi, is your editor open? I just need to confirm that. So we move on. Please leave your replies in the chat so I can know, because we're going to be doing first exercises now. We're going to do Everybody's going to do like a first exercise, so I need to know how many people are following. Um, okay, no response. Okay, well we'll move on. So now we're talking about data types. We're talking about variables. We want to look at what variables are in Python. So I'm going to start by using an illustration I like to use. Imagine a box. Please couldn't join the chat. Okay, okay. All right. So for those that didn't join yesterday, the recording is available. I sent the recording. I showed how to download it yesterday. But if you have a pen and paper with you, please at least try to write something. So on your own, you can when you install it, you can catch up. But then today's class, you can be exempted for all of that because it's an introduction class part 2. But from next week you will have to actually be working on the spot, very interactive. Okay, so let's look at variables. Imagine a box. Imagine you have okay, I have a box here. So imagine this box, and this box is a container. I don't know what's inside. I don't know whatever. I just know I'm holding a box. I know I'm holding a container. Whatever is inside is, let's say, a component of its own. Now in Python, variables are boxes or containers that hold a value inside. Okay, so now let me explain it better. So we have and I need to share my screen. Um, okay, so now we have a variable to the effect of, so let me open a new file. So we have, let's say, age, and we say age is equal to 99. So by this statement now, I hope you see my screen. By this statement now, age is the variable, right? The value of age is 99. So what that means is that age as a variable, as a container, holds the value of 99 inside of it. So we use variables to store data, to store values in Python. Now, apart from 99, which is a number, we have other types of data. We have other data types. We have, okay, in Python we refer to this as integer. Okay. Then we have name, which is, this would be in a quotation mark. Notice the difference. We refer to this as a string. Then we have degree. We say 23.5. We refer to this as a float, right? And we have, let's say, ID. We refer to this as 1B. Sorry, 1B. This is a float. Sorry, this is a complex, and so on. So these are like these are four major types of data types we have in Python. Now notice that we have 99 as a number and 23.5 as a number too. We don't refer to the both of them as integers because as soon as it becomes a decimal point, 5 in Python, 5 is not the same as 5.0. 10 is not the same as 10.0. It's different. We regard them as two different things, but then they could mean the same thing. Okay, so for everyone, please write in the chat. I need you to create a variable with what I have. Create a variable country and give it a value in the chat. I need to see. So I need you to type a variable country with and give it a value. Did anyone get the tax? Okay. Oh, beautiful. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, speak.
Hi. So yesterday, yeah, while you were giving us examples, I don't know if you can hear me properly. I'm hearing other noises.
Someone's sound is on. Just wait, hold on. Okay, let me. Okay, yes. Please go on.
Yes. Please go on.
It's still on.
Still on.
Um, please.
Um, please.
All right.
Oh,
Please go on.
yeah. So sorry, but like I'm a little bit confused here. Why is that? Yesterday, when you were showing examples, if I am correct, you wrote print equal to open
Oh,
brackets.
okay.
Then
Okay, I think I understand your question. Those are two different things entirely. Okay. I'm going to, just for the sake of clarity, I'll
So
explain
just for
that.
the sake of clarity, I'll explain that.
Please, if you don't have um
Please, if you don't have
anything to say,
anything to say,
don't unmute yourself. Do you have a
don't
question?
unmute yourself. Do you have a question?
Yes, madam.
Okay, okay, ask please.
Okay, okay, ask please.
I want to ask you one question. Hello.
Yes, go on.
Yes, go on.
I want to ask you one question. Today we are talking about variable and data. Will you get that one for example of manual also material like also example books that you can follow in the lesson?
Okay, so you mean books we
Okay, so
can read?
you need books you can read.
Yes, the examples that you can follow. Because even if some student, I think, don't have a computer or laptop, when you are also doing something, we are going to repeat ourselves or myself to do as a practicals.
Okay, so I said at the beginning
Okay,
that I
so
was
I
going to
said at the
do
beginning that I
a
was going
note.
to do a note.
I'll send a document file
I'll
Yes,
send a document file
that contains everything
that
yes.
contains
for
everything
the week.
So,
for the week.
So it will help you
in a
with your
week.
So
study
it will
throughout the
help you
week
with your study throughout the week
before the next class.
Yeah.
for the next class.
Yes.
Is that
And
okay?
also now I can see here in Python is a web development, web application development, and also I think it's software development. Now, which will you now topic? The first one will be teaching us now in Python.
Okay, I think I will answer this question
Okay, I
after
think
the
I will answer this
class.
question after the class.
Yes.
Yes, I'll answer this question after
Yes,
the class.
I will answer this question after the class.
Is that okay?
Is that okay?
No problem.
All right. So let's move on.
Alright. So let's move on.
So Chris asked a question that yesterday. Thank you to us to those that answered. Yes, you understood it. Um, that's really good. So yesterday, when I was giving an example, I made use
So
of the
I made use of
yes, I made use of the word print. Let me maximize this. So what print did yesterday was something different. Now, if you remember, when you click I do, it takes you to this home page. It takes you to a first page before you will go to file and click new file and all of that. Now we call that console. We call what it displays as console. Let me use a better example. In school, you learnt garbage in, garbage out. What you give is what you get, right? So think of where you write your code as your input point, and think of where it prints out something as your output point. Now, let me show you what I mean. Variable is different from the print statement because variable is just you creating a container to say, okay, um, this is what this means. Wherever you see this variable name, know that this is what the value of the variable is. And I'll give you an example very soon. So let's say I'll show you how they all work together. This is supposed to comment out. Let's ignore this. S plus one. Okay, so now what I've done here now is to make this code I wrote here from here to here invisible to Python. So now let's go. We've stated that age is equal to 90. Okay. And okay, no, let me give an example. Let's do a practical example. Let's build a program that solves for speed. Yes, let's solve for speed. So please, can anyone let me know in the chat what the formula for speed is? What is the mass formula for speed? Yes, yes. I'm seeing something close, but we don't know what D and T is. We need it to in full. Beautiful, yes. So D is distance and time is T is time. Yes. But you said distance and time. Yes. Thank you. So now we're going to solve that in Python. Okay. So let's start. So we have distance. So let's say the distance we've gone is 50 miles per hour. So we're going to say 50. And the time we've gone is 5 hours. So we say 5. Then we say speed is equal to distance divided by time. And then we now said print speed. This is the formula. I'm going to explain everything line by line again, but I just want to run it so you see what happens when we run it. Now, when you finish writing your code, you have to run your code, okay? And if idle is open on your end, you will see on the tabs, you will see file, you see edit, you see format, and you see run. What you're going to click is run. It's different for those using Replit because you just have to click the run at the top. It's there. And VS Code, you click VS Code, you click I need a Python file. I need a Python file. Hold on. You click this triangle thing here. So it tell you run Python file. But if you're using idle, you see run here. So you click run and you click run module and they'll tell you to save your file, of course. If you don't want to manually do this, when you finish writing your code, you just click Control S. Anytime you make any change on your code, you click Control S and then you run it. You run your module and it will take you to the front page, the console. It's supposed to do that. And it has given me 10. So 50 divided by 5 has come out 10.0. Now I'm going to explain everything we did there. So the first line we did was to define the value of distance. So we created a variable known as distance and we said the value of distance is 50. We created another variable as time and we said, okay, the value of time is 5. We now said, okay, we need another variable, which is speed. And how speed is formed is that you will calculate the variable distance, you will divide it by the other variable time. That's why we didn't go and write 5 divided by 50 divided by 5. We just directed Python to the variable we created in the beginning and we created distance at the beginning. We also referred it to the other variable time. Then we said, after you have calculated this, print what you calculated as speed in front. So if I tell it to print time, let's see what happens. And I tell you to print distance. Anything you tell it to print is what it will print. So if we run this and save this, it has printed time. It has printed speed as 10.0. It has printed time as 5, and it has printed 50. I want to assume everybody understands, but please ask your question. Let me check the chat. Please, yes, yes, ask Benjamin. I'm seeing your hand up.
So my service has been acting up crazy. It's been jumping from one part to the other almost throughout your explanation. Um, you were trying to explain time. Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry. Speed.
you didn't
Speed.
get what I explained?
Yeah, my service has been
Okay, so let me
breaking.
first of all copy my code to the chat. Then you can run it on your end to make it easier to understand. Okay, yeah, so Sandra tried it and it worked. Yes, so
But if I try running it on idle, once I press hit enter after the first line to say something different.
okay. Did you save your code?
No,
Okay.
I didn't.
When you type anything, as I said, when you go to your idle, right, and you type
Yes.
anything you want it to run, you let me say print. Let me ask you to print something again. Let me say to print speed, okay? And I want to run it. What I'll do is either Control S to manually save it. But if I don't press Control S, when I click Run Module to tell me source must be saved, okay to save, then I click OK, and it prints out my result at the console. Okay, so it's either you didn't click Control S, you didn't manually save, or you didn't click the right button to run. So please let me know which one you think it's the problem so I can try to help again.
I this sorry. Could you go back to the previous? Besides the idle shell, like besides that program, there's another program that was launched.
This one,
Besides this, there's another one that you were typing the speed, the formula basically.
okay,
This
is
this
idle
part one. This
open?
is
Wait,
this
is idle
now.
open?
Yes, it is.
Go to file. Did you open a new file?
File. I saved one as class like you did.
And is that where you were writing your code? Okay, let's do
No,
it
I'm
again.
just writing it inside it.
Let's do it
Okay.
again. So click file, click new
Okay.
file.
Okay.
Are you here on a tab that
Yes,
says
and then
untitled?
yes, I am.
Now, you can either choose to copy what I sent in the chat, but you
Okay.
can manually write it by yourself.
Okay.
Then, as I said, before you run, you save it. So you either do Control S, or when you click,
Okay.
have you done Control S?
I did it before entering the new tab.
Okay. Now that did you
I-
paste your code or you're manually
I'm
writing
typing
it?
it. Like I'm using my phone to like watch the Zoom meeting.
Okay,
Then
okay,
I'm
okay,
using my
okay.
example
All
secretary.
right, type it. Type whatever you want to
Mm.
type, and then when you
Okay.
finish, you Control S or you just go to run. When you go to run, you will see run module. Then you click
Mm.
run module, and it will tell you source must be saved. If you get to this point, then you know you're on the right track. You just press OK and it goes. If it
Okay.
gives
I'm
you an
almost done.
error, if it gives you an error, one other thing is possible that you missed something, because Python is very sensitive to
Mm-hmm.
text. Like distance. Oh, sorry, let me not tamper with this. This is different from this. Is different from this. Is different from this. Okay, these are different.
Okay.
It recognizes all of these as different things. So there are cases where someone will declare their variable with capital letter. The first letter is capital letter. Then when you are now referring to
Yeah.
the variable later, you now probably use small letter everywhere. So if you get an error, look for things like that. Or you missed maybe this, maybe you wrote speed without, you wrote an incorrect variable name, or you missed
Yeah.
a bracket. So these are possible things you should check for to allow you to run your code smoothly. So I believe you should be at a point where they will ask you to save your code. Are you done?
So you said I should, yeah, I'm done typing. You said I should save it first, Control S.
Yes. So if you do Control S, let me do Control S. If you do Control S, right, it will tell you
Okay.
to save your file. So let's just use another
Okay.
name. I'm going to use class 5. Let me just use class 5 and you save. As soon as you save, and have you done that?
Yes, I have.
Then you run module. You click run and then you go to run module
Okay.
and you click it. It should take you to the console. The other page that comes out is what we call the console or the app.
Okay.
Then you see your numbers there. What did it give you?
Yeah, same thing. 10.05 and 50.
Okay. Oh, I have questions here. Sorry. All right, let me come to the questions. So, thank you, Kennedy. So, please, how did you make the first interview? All right, so we do that in two ways. You either use two things, okay? You either use what you refer to as hashtag, the color will change. You either use hashtag, maybe you want one line invisible, you don't want other lines invisible. You either use hashtag or you manually do quotation mark 3. Okay, so you do one, two, three, everything will change. Then you let it know where you will end. So you do one, two, three. So anything you write under is you will notice that what you made invisible, or what we refer to as Python comment. We refer to it as, we call it comment. So but what you've made a comment, the color is different from the text. Normal text you would put, it will be a different color. So um so as I said, either you use hashtag in front of the line or you use quotation mark 3. So 3 to start, 3 to finish. Okay. So is Python case sensitive? Benjamin, hold on, I'm coming to you. Is Python case sensitive in that when printing, do I have to use? Yes, yes, because as I explained, um, distance with a small letter D is different from distance with a capital letter D. So if you use the two, it will know if it will tell you name error because it doesn't know what you're referring to. It will give you different types of error. And that case, it will be a name error. How can I type the VS code with Python? I don't understand this question, but if you're asking if how you can use Python in VS Code, you download VS Code, you install Python extension, and you can run a Python code with that. So you can just text me after the class and I can show you how to use it. We can have a call for that. But if VS Code is not working, please you guys should use IDO. The main thing here is for you to understand what you're doing. So any editor you're using, it will be easy. Okay, so I believe we're done with that. So the next thing we're going to do now, the next exercise. Benjamin asked a question or raised his hand. Sorry, please ask. I remember. I almost
Yeah,
okay.
no problem. Sorry, I wanted to ask, yeah. Um, the why are you making the first module you run invisible? What was the point?
Okay, so we refer to it as a comment. So let's say we're working on a program together and I'm writing my code and I don't, okay, I wrote my code and I don't know if you understand what I want to do. So I'll do something like this. I'll say, um, let's say I want to make a comment here. I would say Benjamin. This is the code for the class. just to make extra comments that you don't want the computer to read. Um, Skip ahead, or you can say um, code for speed. Just any comment you want at all that you don't want the computer to interpret, but you just want to pass a message for mostly for human reading. Because as soon as the computer sees the hashtag or the quotation three, it just says, okay, this one is not for running. The next line, the next line. So we just use it for comments, or we say
Mm,
um, distance
mm,
of car. Then we come here, time of movement. Just so any other person that is reading it will probably understand what it means.
okay.
Calculation.
So basically, let's say you're working in a team now, like in a team, and let's say you're
Yes.
not the only front end developer. Let's use that as an example. That's just a message to them than stressing yourself and
Yes. So I want to address something. So they said if you got a notification that the call will end in 15 minutes, yes. You'll be receiving a new link in the meeting. Sorry for the inconvenience. You'll get a new link immediately the class stops, right? You'll just join immediately. So I think let's just keep learning. By next week, most of all of this will be sorted out. So sorry for that. So let's go on. The next exercise we're going to do now is to calculate for age. It's an exercise for everybody to do. We want to create a program. The way I created a program to solve for speed, you have to create a program that solves for age. I like to call it an age generator. So, does anyone have an idea of how they would do that, or do you want to do it personally, or should I show the class how to do it? But I think it's best you do it yourself because you're a programmer, you need to write code. So, yeah, just go ahead to build a program that solves for age. Let me give a hint. Before you write code that involves math, you have to think of the math part of it. On a normal day without code, how do you use to check if you see somebody, if someone just tells you something, what will go on in your head for you to know, oh, that's how old the person is? What do you do in your head that says, oh, okay, she's 15, she's 30, she's like, you need to know two things. And I believe the things you need to know is the year you're currently in and the year the person is born. So, with that, do you have an idea of how you're going to do it? Should I give more hints? But I believe it's a challenge that you can figure out. Division. No, not division. I think the operator we're using there is subtraction. Yeah, I think the division we're using, yes, is subtraction. So from now till I think you have 5 minutes. Everyone has 5 minutes to try it out, or let me say 7 minutes. But if you're done, I don't know how to send messages personally to people, but yeah, you can send it on the chat, and let's see what you come up with. Okay, okay. Um, Chris, you're right. I'm not going to argue with that, but your code will give you error. if this is the variable you use. And then I think I need you, the format I need people to submit their code is in the format of as you would write it in your idle, as you write it in your idle, so or your editor. So you give me the variable and you give me the value. You can use any value at all. You can calculate for any name, so that I can just copy and paste on my end. So, but you're right on track. You know what you're talking about. Is anyone done or close to doing it? Yeah, that's yes, that's more like it. Um, okay, I need more responses. You don't all have to use the same variable name. You can use your own variable names. Okay, okay. So I need one more response and then we move on. I'll try to explain everything. Hmm, okay. Yeah, that's it. So I'm actually happy people are following. Yes, yes. Thank you. So I believe we've understood variable, and we've come to understand at least what a print statement is. I said at the beginning of the class we're looking at variable, data types, and operators. And with this exercise, you guys have actually done both variables, data types, and operators. But I want to point out, I want to make a correction for Benjamin. So let's go. You wrote, um, this is what you wrote. Now, okay, sorry, it's going far. Let me just show you what the error is. And I've not explained it, so I don't expect you to know it. So let me just show you. Now, first of all, before the call cuts, when you're naming variables that involve two words, you can't have a space in between. It will give you an error. I don't know if my screen is still sharing. Okay, it's still sharing. So, what you would do is either you will use an underscore or you join the words together. Um, currently join the words together, so you can have underscore, underscore. You have different ways. You just can't have year born like that, or birth year. Sorry, birth year. It will give you an error. If I try to run this, let's say 1980, 2023. Um, just want to copy this. Yes. I try to do this and I say print age. Okay, the class is not up yet. How many minutes do I have? Okay. And I try to print age and I say print, you have capital letter AGE, and clean all of this, Control S, and I run it to give me an error. No. So it has given me invalid syntax because you don't leave space here. So yeah. So you have to close it and then use for you to have a variable name with two words. So I think I'm getting an unexpected indent error. Okay, let me see your code. Indent error. You when they say indentation error, that means you didn't start from the first line. So the question is, where do you have your first line? If you have, for you to get indentation error, that means you have something like this somewhere, and you click run, and you click save. For you to have this, you must have a space here. So check and see if that's what you have. Um, check and see if that's what you have before. Yes. So I just want to copy everyone's comments so that I can paste it back again. You can. I'll send a link now. The ways you can name your um variable, right? So let me start by copying all the comments. I makes it easier for you to know where you stopped. This is everybody's comment I copied. Okay, so let's go on. Um, I didn't even paste anything. So there are different ways you can have your variable. Yes, you can use short form, but will somebody else reading your code know what you're talking about? Because who knows? Let's say I want to use YOB as year of birth. There is no way to if you now come and look at my code, you may look at it and you're wondering what is yob, right? Um, so it's usually better to be clear. We have we have some guidelines that help with oh yes, the classes are recorded. The classes are recorded, please. Um so if you go ahead and maybe save your variable name as something like yob or something as air, right? And then you don't have any comment that explains to the other developer that maybe yob is like year of birth or something. It causes confusion. That is why it's a standard policy to give your name, to create a variable name that other people will understand. Because on your journey, there's no way of knowing who will read your code, because you could write your program, drop it on GitHub, and let's say you're applying for a job, um, and then someone is just looking to see your policies. If recruiters see that you have a very shabby way of naming your variables, it may give them the wrong impression. Yes, you're still using idle, but if you want to use VS Code, it's okay. You are allowed to use whichever editor you want, but for this class I'm using idle so everyone can be on the same level. um I wanted to say something. Yes, so we have what we call the PEP style in Python programming, right? So these are like guidelines, style guidelines. It tells you, for someone that was having indentation issue the last time, we have cases where we do indentation, right? Sometimes it's an error, but sometimes it's necessary to have indentation. So let me give you an example. We've not gotten to the point of loop, but in PEP style, we have what we call indentation, right? Now, some people would say, if I want to have an indentation now, okay, is either I press space bar 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have my indentation, or I have, let's say, print, and I go to the beginning and I just press tab 1 time. It's the same thing. By Python standard, you can either use tabs or you can use spacebar 2 times. Sorry, spacebar 4 times, but you are not allowed to start with tab. Then you will not go and start doing space again. No, it's a violation of the rule. Nobody will beat you or nobody will come and harass you for what you did. But the computer most of the times will detect it and it will stop your code from working. Okay, so um, did you get it, Benjamin?
Yeah, I got you there.
Okay, so we have
So
different.
besides that, like what other common errors are there?
Okay, so we have
Because
it.
you mentioned the one about sorry, go on.
No, we have the name error, we have the syntax error, we have the indent error, um, type error. We have type error. Um, these are things you will know along the way. I think it's best to take it one step at a time, because if I start explaining all this and you've not learned things like, let's say, loop, you don't even know what a syntax is, it may confuse you. So as you go on, you will learn about errors. But for now, the most type of error you come across is syntax error. And what syntax means is So I studied English language in school, and as an undergrad, we came across what makes up a language. Okay, and one thing that um, makes sense in language is knowing how to combine elements of the language together. Okay, so if someone comes into the room and says, "I is a boy," instantly you're like, "That's wrong. That person's grammar is wrong. That's a mistake right there." So when a computer prints to the console a syntax error, what the computer is telling you is that you violated a law, you violated a language rule here. So when it gives you a syntax error, what you just have to do is to go back to your code and look for, where did I write something wrong? That's your approach to addressing that error. If you have an error, indent error, you go and look for where you have. And the good thing about computer is that when you have all these errors, it usually shows you what where you did wrong, where it's referring to, right? Like when I intentionally put an indentation before in the last call, it showed a red like a red block where the indentation problem was. So it's you just know that, okay, that's where you're supposed to go to. That's where the error is. Then you go and fix it right there. So errors are usually a way for you to know where something is wrong. And luckily, the computer would usually tell you, okay, so this is where your mistake is from. Go back there and fix it. So I can't list all the errors for you right now, truly, but along the way you would see them. And when we get to that point, I will make mention of it. So right. So let's look at
Okay.
operators. Let's go to operators because I think we're going to do like at least two exercises today. Um, I want to explain it before we continue. So now, in programming, we have in maths, you know plus as addition, you know subtraction, you know minus as subtraction, you know multiplication, and you know division, right? But then we're going on to add what we have as floor division, and we have what we have exponentation. These are in Python. We have exponentation. I hope I got it well. And we have, I think these are the, yeah, we have modulus. I have modulus. Let me copy this in the chat so you can have it there. So I said we have addition, multiplication. Let me close this so we're not using it. So we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, floor division, expo, and modulus. I'm on call, please. So now what does each one do? By default, can you please, we have, okay, so we're going to give an instance now. We have x is equals to 4. Please can you close the door? So we have variable. Sorry, my network is bad, so let's go to the top and fix it. I'm commenting this. So we have x is equals to 4, and okay, let me make it 5. And we have y is equal to 5. So as I said, we have this x and y are variables. Just for those that missed it, x is a variable, y is a variable. The value of x is, let me make one higher. The value of x is 10 and the value of y is 5. So we're going to use all these operators now. So we'll say z is equal to x, sorry, x plus y, m is equal to x minus y, N is equal to x multiplied by y. P is equal to x divided by y. And if I go ahead to say t is equal to x floor division y, and we say arrow is equal to x expo. I like to call it expo because I have a problem pronouncing exponentiation. So please bear with me. Y and what letter should I use now? Let's say E is equal to x modulus y. Okay, so I'll explain what all of this does um in a minute. So we have, sorry, let me see if I have a question before I move on. All right. So now we have x, all we have all these variables here, and we're going to use them now. So we've said the print z. By default, z will give you 10 plus 5, right? So of course 15. If we print m, we know what to give us. If we print n, we know what to give you. If you print p, of course it will give you 10 divided by 5. Now here's where the difference now comes in. If we go ahead and print t, it will give us 10 floor division 5. And if we print arrow, and if we then print e, now what happens here is that what happens in floor division is that floor division, when there is a remainder, floor division only prints a whole number. Now p would give us 5.0, but t will give us only, sorry, p will give us 2.0, but t will give us only 2. Arrow will give us 10 raised to the power 5, and x will give us, okay, let me run it, let me show you, so I don't confuse anybody. So let me clean this off. Sorry, let me clean this off so we have a fresh page and I run it. I want to, let me be sure I don't have a question here. Okay, so if you see it now, we have 15, which is x, which is 10 plus 5. We have 10 minus 5. We have 10 times 5. We have 10, we have 2.0, that is 10 divided by 5. Then we have 2 without the point 0, which is 10 floor division 5. Then we have 10 expo 5, which is 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 in 5 times. Then we say 10 modulus 5 is division, is the remainder. So modulus prints out the remainder of a division. I think I'm confusing you people. Does anybody understand does anyone understand floor division? Is anyone confused? Which one is confusing you? Is there anyone you don't understand? Okay. Yes, ask your question. Okay. I'll explain floor division well.
Okay, for the floor division, the expo and the modulus, for me, I thought like the modulus was more of a percentage something.
Okay. Okay, so let me explain it differently now. I think we should use a different example. If you have,
شنت بقول شهاده ولا عربة شنت بقول شهاده وش يعني ده
okay, so if we have well, okay, the example we're using now is 10 as x, and 5 as y. Okay, so but if we have a case where we have a remainder of 1, so where maybe where we are dividing 5 divided by 2, that means 5 divided by 2 will give you 5 remainder 1, abi. So if we did 5 floor division, 2, it will give us only 2, because that's 2 remainder 1. It will give us the 2 and it will not print out the remainder. But whereas modulus will give out the remainder, floor will give the whole number without the remainder. That was the confusing part there. Do you get it? Or let me give an example to explain it better. So we've used 10 as x and 5 as y. And when we did floor division, it gave us 2, and then the modulus was 0 because there is no remainder. It's just 2 remainder 0. But if we have a case where we have 11 and I run this now, you would see the difference. You will see the difference here now. Here we have 2.2, and we have floor division 2 as a whole number. That's 2 times 2 is 10. So that's the closest whole number, 10. Sorry, 5 times 2 is 10. So the whole number there is 10, remainder 1. So it gave you 2 here, and it gave you the remainder 1 here as the modulus, and the whole number is 2. I think if you practice it, you will understand it better, if you practice it. So maybe in your idle, please run your own examples, and then let's see what you can get. Okay. So modulus gives you the remainder of a solution, while floor division will give you the nearest whole number before the remainder. So if anyone has any question, you can ask now. Are we good? If you're okay, just maybe a thumbs up or a message in the chat. Okay. All right. So we then for exponentation. All right. So for exponentation just means the way you would solve raised to the power, right? So if we say x expo y, we are saying x raised to the power y. So if x is 10 and 5 and y is 5, that would be I think 10,000, no, 100,000, because that's 5 zeros. 10 times 5. Okay, so I'm going to give like class exercises now. Yes. So floor, exactly. So floor division is like the number of times we have. Let's say we have floor, 100 floor 10. It will give you. It will tell you that 100 will go in 10 times. So it will give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 without a remainder. So it will just give you 10. But if it was 101 floor 10, it will still give you 10, and the modulus of that will be 1, a remainder 1. So yes, I think Fasolu's definition is easier to understand. So it's time for the exercises. Let me get them for you so we can solve it now. So we've looked at the exercise for today, the class for today, and then we're going to have an exercise on variables. Okay. Okay, I didn't specifically talk about I didn't talk about this one. Okay, so on your own system, the first exercise you will do now, that if that is with operators, is this. So you open your code and you do your own calculations for each of these operators, right? and we're using two variables. You need two variables with the value 3 and 4. So you try that out on your end and then let me know what it gives you. If you've done it, you can just raise your hand and then you talk your answers. So has anyone solved this? Is anyone ready to tell me what the answer is? So okay, all right. All you have to do is just the way I did the previous example with the with my x and y here. This is basically what you're supposed to do with each of the operators. And we refer to these operators as arithmetic operators because they are like mathematical operators. Have you solved it? Okay. Um. Okay. I don't know if anyone is solving it. Well, while you're solving it, in the meantime, I think I should be okay. I should talk about data class. I should. There's one more thing I didn't. Okay. 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 Fasulu, please talk.
The first one is 7.
Mm-hmm.
The addition one, 7.
Mm-hmm.
Minus 1, 12.
Mm-hmm.
3,
Mm-hmm.
0.75,
Okay.
81, and 0.
Um, flood division gave you 0.
Yes.
Okay. Um, is any other person there? Thank you. Thank you. Did anyone get anything different? Okay, I want to assume everyone is trying this out because it's practice that makes you better in coding. So I'm just going to go ahead to share my screen and then um okay, we're going to do it. So I'm just going to change my does anyone have okay and change it as 4. Okay. Then I will close this. I will close this. Sorry. Why are people making noise now? Why? Shift, away. Okay, so let me run this. Um, I don't know if I closed everything before. All right, so I want to run this now. Tell me to save, and Okay, so it has given me 7 minus 1, 12, 0.75, 0, 81, and 3. So yeah, that's what it's going to give you. Um, okay, all right. So I'm bringing down. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about now is how to know data types. Okay, now I talked about data types before. I said um, we have integer, we have string, we have float, we have complex, but we have other types of data. Let me open this so that we know what type we have. We have other types of data. We have is open equal to true, and this is boolean. We call this boolean, and these are like at the most the basic type of data types. Let me open W3 school and show you. W3 school is a point of reference, a very good point of reference for anyone that wants to learn Python. I'll send this to the group chat too. So let's go to the data types here. So you have a comprehensive list of all of them. So we have strings, as I said, integer, float, complex. We have all these are data types: list, tuple, range, dictionary, set, frozen set. We have boolean. Now, the ones I mentioned here are the major data types you need to know, but we also have string, we also have list, we have tuple, we have, what did I do to you people now? So those are the major data types we have, right? And then we'll see them in example now. Um, I want to copy this in the chat for you. So the next thing we're going to do now is to, okay, someone said something. All right, okay, I'm seeing your messages now. Okay, so I want to paste these things here now. So the exercise we have, the second exercise we have to look at is to check the data types of the following data. We have all of this here. I've pasted it in the chat for you to see. So I'm going to do it now. Okay. Um, Let me paste this. So we have to check the data types here. So the first thing we'll do is to put all these values in a variable. So we'll start with, let's say, let's just give this one A. Let's give this one B. Let's give this one C. Let's give this one D. Let's give this one E. Then F. Then G. Then H. Okay, so we've done all of this, and it said the variable here now should be your name. So I'll change this to A and change this to Titanic. I'm sorry, change this to Nigeria. Okay, and to check for the data type, if you're not sure of what the data type is, you would say print, okay, type, then you say A. You have two brackets open, so you must have two brackets closed. You do the same. I'm a very lazy typer, so I just copy and paste everywhere. And B, C, oh no, it's gone. Okay, just do it everywhere. D, E, we have F, G, and we have H. So we save this. When we run this, it should give us the data types of each of them. So it has told us the one that is integer, the one that is float, the one that is complex, the one that is string. I'm going to copy all of this here in the chat. So this should be your answer at the end of the day. So for each of them, number one is integer, number two, number one is integer, number two is float, number three is float, number four is complex, okay. Number five is a list because it's in this square bracket, right? We also have um we have another type of data type that is with coily, with the normal bracket. We have another one with the coily braces and all of that. So we also have dictionary. Dictionary works with keys and values, but you will get there. For now, just know that these are the data types we have, and this is how to know the data type that you're using. So any question? Um, any question? Please, this is the interactive part. So if you have any question, ask me. That means everyone understood it. Okay, that's nice. If you're trying it on your end and you're having any issues, it's best you try it in class so that I can be here to answer. So if you have any challenge, please feel free to ask it in the chat or okay. So Kennedy, I believe Kennedy is getting it. Um, is there any other one? If we're done with that, I want to move to exercise of the next exercise we'll do, and then we're done for the day. So, um, Maggie, are you following?
Yes, yes, I am.
Okay. Since no one wants to talk, I think I'm going to call everyone. Um, Kevin, please, do you have any question? Did you understand everything? Kevin or Onyango? Okay, maybe he's not there. All right, all right, all right. So, um, let's move to the exercise for today. I've talked about variables, and I want to give an exercise for now that would require using variables. So, I have a very lengthy exercise for everybody to do, but this will be the assignment for today or the exercise for today. Um, I would prefer if you guys do it, we'll leave the call, you do it, and you send your code, your files to me personally. Because if we're on the group chat here, everyone is just going to be copying everybody's code, and that's not a way for me to know if people are following. So I'm going to send the exercises on the group chat. You put it in a file and you send them to me. Can you share screen? Okay, all right, let me do that. Okay, first of all, let me copy. Okay, okay. All right, so this was the last exercise. Yeah, this was the last exercise. Let me take a screenshot so I can send it to you too. Um, is that okay? Do you still need to see it? I can send you a screenshot personally after the class. Okay, so I want before I give the exercises, let me let's have the interaction a bit before the class is over because Glory, oh Benjamin, you can catch up. The recording will be available. I don't know if the recording is making people lazy to not join class. Um, but I'll see the outcome of this to know if we'll have recordings next week. But the recording is available, so you can catch up, Benjamin. So Glory Muri me sorry. Glory.
Yes. Yes. Hi.
So how do you check for a data type from the class? How do you check for data type?
Um, Print,
Mm-hmm.
then curly braces. No, the normal bracket.
Okay.
Then type bracket A. Then make sure you've closed all the brackets.
Sorry, say it
Hold them.
again. I didn't get you. Print.
Print,
Mm-hmm.
and then the type
Mm-hmm.
bracket. You open another bracket, and then the variable,
Yes. Then you
and then you
close.
close both.
Yes. Don't forget you have two opening brackets and then two closing brackets. Thank you. Um Ibrahim. Um can you try to differentiate between an integer and a float? I'm talking to Ibrahim Mukhtar. An integer and a float. Do you remember the major difference? Okay, is he there? Um, does okay since Ibrahim is not there, does anyone remember the difference, or can anyone see the difference between an integer and a float in Python programming? If you want to answer, you can unmute yourself and answer.
And an integer is a whole number,
Okay.
while a float is a decimal
Yeah,
number.
yes. So an integer is a number without a decimal point, and a float is a number with a decimal point. Thank you. So the two of them are different in the sense that the computer recognizes them differently when you do more exercises, because after this we're going to be doing a lot of exercises during the course of this program. You would notice why you need to differentiate between a float and an integer, because you will have cases where you need your number to be whole for calculations, and it will be important to differentiate from the two. Thank you, Fasulu, for trying. So the last thing I want to ask is from operators. And I think I want to ask Mr. Peter Mutwa. Um, do you remember what modulus does? Okay. Mr. Peter, are you there? Do you remember what modulus does? Or, well, if any other person remembers, you can answer. What does modulus do? If you don't remember modulus, or at least you remember floor division or exponentation, you can answer and let me know. Mr. Kennedy, I see your camera is on. Do you want to answer?
Um, Hello, can I answer?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Modulus give us the remainder of a number
Okay,
when it's divided, the remainder.
okay,
While the flow division is the number of times the divisor is used to divide the
the
number we are
dividend.
dividing.
Okay, so I'm seeing in the chat. So yes, Teresa and Sandra got it. Thank you. So that means you guys understood what was taught today. So I believe now you have full knowledge of how to install Python on your system. To recap what we've done so far since yesterday, how to install the program on your system. You know what variables are. You know what variable values are. My types keep giving me errors. Okay, it has to be what you're typing. So, what are you typing? Can you unmute yourself and explain what you're typing so that I can help out? Or if you can type it in the chat, I don't mind anything. I just want to know how you're typing because if you're not typing the right variable name, if you're not typing it right, if it's giving you syntax error, you omitted something. So, what um, exactly are you not getting? If you can copy your code in the chat, it keeps saying, okay. Can you copy your code so that um, we can try to help you? We can try to help you figure it out.
Okay, so I'm using my phone
Okay.
for the class and then my laptop for
Oh,
the code.
okay. Just
So
explain what you've written.
okay, so like you pasted on the chat A equal to 10, B 9.8 and all that. And then I don't know. For the name, I put in my name for um surname, a family name, I put in my surname and then country I put in Nigeria.
Did you put it in a
But each time
variable?
yes.
What the variable you have for name and the value? Let me know.
So just like you did A B C D E F. So F is your name and I did F equal to Chine. I don't know if that's the problem.
So did you put Chineye in quotation marks?
Oh, I see. I see.
Okay, yes. So because if you don't put in quotation mark, it does not read as a letter. It reads as an
Oh,
integer.
okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So please, I think we've looked at data types, we looked at variables, and we looked at operators. From now to the next class, you just have to do your personal practice, and I'll give an exercise, which would be the assignment. Please send them to me directly for me to evaluate, not on the group chat, but to me personally. Um, So if you have any question, you can use the next 10 minutes to ask. Someone asked something about software and web development at the beginning. I think it was Mohammed, right? Yes. So the truth is it's too early to start talking about the specialization because it's you that will decide if you want to do data, if data science, web, games. I listed out all the areas you want to do. What we are doing now is learning the basics of the programming language. We're not learning web development here. We're not learning. After the class, we can have an intro class on maybe Flask or Django, any of the frameworks for website development with Python. We can look at data science and introduction. We can also look at Pygame, introduction to game development. We can look at all of them as a 1 day class for you to know how to do that. But what we are doing here is like an introduction class for you to understand the language, how it works, and the basic concepts of the language. So there is no need to try to specialize now when you don't even know what a list is or a set is. in the language. I don't know if he's still here, but I believe with the recording he would catch up and all. So I'll send the assignment to the group chat. It's going to be very lengthy because I'm sorry if it's going to be too much for anyone, but you have today to Thursday. Oh, the class is ending in 15 minutes anyway. So today to Thursday to look at them. Deadline for submission is Thursday, so that I can mark it ahead of Friday. Deadline should be Wednesday, but I can extend a little bit of grace to Thursday, 12 p.m. Nigerian time Thursday, so that I can look at it and then correct your mistakes and then give you feedback on time in class, or even before class I can provide everybody feedback on time. Since there is no question, okay, let me not assume there is no question. If you have a question, maybe on the assignment or anything, you can ask before we go. All right. I guess no one has a question. So you received the assignments in the in the WhatsApp groups today. Okay, Sandra raised her hand. Please ask.
Okay, so I actually asked it on the chat, but I don't think you sent it. So I said, how do we, get back the assignment to you?
Okay. You either send it to, you save it as a Python file and you upload the file to me. Or I'm not so rigid on how you send it. Is what you send that is important to me. So if you send it as maybe copy and paste, send it in the chat. Copy and paste is easy. But if you just send, you need to just send the .py file, right, directly to me. Send it to me so that I can see the structure. I can see the structure at which you wrote your code, and then also give you feedback on that. Yeah. So you send it to me as .py file, or you can copy and paste, or you can send it to my email. Anyone you want, but WhatsApp is available to us. So let's just keep it in WhatsApp. GitHub repo link, yes. Can you snap and send? What if it's more than one page? Don't you think that would be a problem? Because if you want to, okay, if you want to snap and snap your screen, sure. But if you're snapping your screen, are you snapping with your phone? If you're snapping your screen, I would prefer if you snap it with control with Windows and print screen. You take like a screenshot of your laptop, not to snap it. On Windows, you click Windows and the key that has PRT SC. That's how you take a screenshot of your laptop screen. Um, if you know how to use GitHub and you send me a link, that's perfect. It's fine. But for those snapping, please don't snap with your phone. Send a screenshot so I can see it clearly. And then yes, that's how. So you send either file, or for those using Replit, you can put it on Replit and send me your Replit link. Yes, that's it for now. So thank you all for coming. I do appreciate the time. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on WhatsApp. I'm always available on WhatsApp to write codes